So Blender version 4.3 was just released, and in the new update they have added a new procedural texture, and that is the Gabor texture. So in this video I'm just going to be playing around with the Gabor texture and seeing what cool textures and patterns I can create with it. And if you'd like to check out all of Blender's new features, then you can check out their recap video where they go over all the new features, and you can also check out this page here on Blender's website where they showcase all the new features, changes, and improvements. So we'll go to the add menu, we're just going to search for the Gabor texture, and then I'll Control-Shift selected to preview it. So you can see here it is on default added to a sphere. So it almost looks like a wave texture that's been kind of distorted by a noise texture. So you could get a similar effect already using the noise texture and wave, but this is cool that it's here already, and this definitely has some more unique values. So if I just like Control-Shift select it twice, you can see there's this phase, so that looks kind of different. So kind of where those lines are, it starts out as white and then it kind of gets black on the edge, and then there's also intensity, and so this kind of is blobby. It almost looks like the Voronoi texture set to like the smooth F1, so it's smooth. But then there's also some other settings, so instead of 2D, let's change it to 3D because I think that looks a bit better. And also with the Gabor texture selected, I'll press Ctrl-T to add the texture coordinate and mapping nodes. I'm going to use the object coordinates, so we'll put the object into the vector. So here it is using the object coordinates, which is great for procedural textures because with procedural materials, if you use the object coordinates place the texture on the object more evenly, so you can easily just drop it onto most objects. So I'm just going to select the value one again so I can preview that. So of course we have a scale value, so let me just turn this up so it's a bit bigger. Then there's also this frequency value. So as I turn this up, you can see it's getting more and more detailed. So now there's a bunch of little lines, and some parts are a bit lighter and some are a bit darker. I'll just turn the frequency down so I can see it a little bit better. And this texture almost looks like a noise texture that's been smoothed out. Now if I turn the frequency back up so I can see kind of those lines there or those waves, if I turn the anisotropy down, now it's not going to be quite as much of those waves and it's going to be a bit more noisy. So it looks a little bit like a Voronoi texture or a noise texture, but it's very smooth and kind of blurred. Then we also have this little circle here which I can drag around, and it's kind of going to randomize it and distort it. So it almost looks like there's little circles with like basic shading, and it's kind of rotating around, so that's pretty interesting as well. So I'm just going to like add this into the normal, and we'll maybe add like a bump node just to preview that. We'll put that into the height value so we can see what this is looking like, and let me use the intensity one instead. So here's the Gabor texture in the intensity. Let's also use the phase. So the phase kind of looks lumpy, but then there are like some little cracks here. And then also let's use the value one, put that in there. That one is pretty simple. It kind of looks like a noise texture, but it's not very detailed. So I'm going to use this texture to try to make like a ground or sand material. So let's just add a mix color node, drop this here, and then we can make some different colors for the sand or the dirt. And let's also turn the bump strength because it's pretty strong right now. And then let's add some noise to it to distort it a bit. So I'm going to search for a noise texture. We're going to use the object coordinates in the vector. I'm also going to duplicate this mix, use the type of linear light, and just put the factor right there. So now I can drag this around and we're distorting it more and more. And then also I can like use the scale and the detail values to kind of distort it. So after fiddling around with the nodes a little bit, you can see I have just a basic sand texture. Now let's also try to make something abstract. So I'm going to try to make a more abstract material with this new node. So for something abstract, I'll use the phase here, maybe turn this to 3D. Let's turn this value down so it looks more random, something like that. We'll put this into the base color. Then I can add like a color ramp to add some custom colors. So let's try making this like a pink color, maybe like a blue color. Let's try putting this into the normal with a bump node. And there we have just a simple kind of abstract metallic material. And another thing I can do with this new texture is add a color ramp in between it. And let's just make it like really contrasty. So I'll bring these two values together like that. Maybe change the type from 2D to 3D. And then I can turn up the frequency. And now you can see that we have little like splotchy areas where you can see those lines, but then other parts which are just white. So after playing around with the node, here's a few things I made with the new Gabor texture. So it's not the most useful texture, I probably won't use it all the time, but I might use it here and there for some projects. And if you'd like to check out all of the new features, updates, and improvements of Blender version 4.3, you can check out this page here on Blender's website, link is in the description, and you can also check out their recap video here, and you can also of course download Blender version 4.3 on blender.org. So I hope you found this video helpful, and thank you for watching.